Hello friends, welcome to Suresh Aggarwal's Mathematics Shortcuts. Your one stop for learning all the mathematics short tricks, tips and tricks to crack the exams and the strategies which will help you become one of those top 1% students who excel and score a perfect 100 in the exams. So what do we have in this video? Here in this video I am going to take up a very important topic of factoring the polynomials in which there are these deadly square roots. You know why I call them deadly? Because most of the students, when they face square roots in factorization problems, they face difficulty. And splitting the middle term, that's the very important method which you will all be facing in subsequent classes after class 9th, obviously in class 10th also, and in subsequent classes, higher classes, you will be facing the application of these important concepts. So watch the entire video. Suresh Aggarwal Mathematics Shortcuts will provide you tips and tricks through which you will get rid of this fear of square roots. So let's see the questions we have in hand now, and you need to follow the steps very carefully and watch the entire video. And after watching the video, don't forget to practice 30-40 questions, okay? And that's the way we excel in mathematics. So the first question coming up is y square minus root 3y minus 6. So we have to factor this quadratic polynomial. It's a second degree polynomial, right? So it's a quadratic polynomial. Likewise, we have another one here, and we are going to take so many different examples in this video. Watch. The first example, the first thing to observe here is that the square root is only in the middle term, right? And when the square root is only in the middle term, when you split the middle term, both factors will have the same square root. Now this is the first takeaway message. You don't have a square root here, no square root here. Likewise, no square root here, no square root here. We have a square root only in the middle term. So these type of questions where the square root is only in the middle term, they can be solved by splitting the middle term. And both the terms into which the middle term will be split will have the same square root. So I want two numbers whose sum, say a plus b, is how much? Negative root 3, and whose product ab is the product of the coefficient of y square, which is 1 here, multiplied by the constant term minus 6. So 1 into minus 6 is minus 6. So I told you both the numbers a and b will have the same square root, root 3 in this case. So what are going to be the factors into which the middle term will be split? It will be minus 2 root 3, right? And another root 3. Why I took these as the factors? So I'll tell you the logic also. See, root 3 into root 3, if you have root 3 in both the factors, then root 3 into root 3 will be 3, and the other one, so if we want to get a 6 and we already have a 3, then the other one is 2, and that is why I took 2. So 2 times root 3 times root 3 is 6. Now, if you have the middle term split factors and you put it here, y square minus 2 root 3, then y, and then plus root 3 y minus 6 becomes the first step. Now comes the very important part of factorization. You know, when you take the highest common factor out of first two terms, it is just y, and you have a y here and a 2 root 3 here. That is not at all a problem. The problem is in the second part, because after taking out the highest common factor from these two, the bracket should be exactly same, and you don't have a 2 root 3 here. So what you need to do is one extra step. Root 3y will remain as such. This 6 will be written as the product of these two. 2 root 3 times root 3. And now watch the magic. I will take the common factor out of these two. So y times y minus 2 root 3 and plus, now we have a root 3 as a common factor, which gives me the same thing. See, y minus 2 root 3 in the bracket. So we have a common bracket here, and this is what I wanted, a common bracket. So the common bracket y minus 2 root 3 forms the first part of your answer, and the second part y plus root 3, that is the terms which are left out, that forms the second factor, giving us the answer for this particular question. If you are in class 9th, class 8th, class 10th, very important factorization trick. You may call it a trick, otherwise it's a method, right? Okay, let's apply the same method here. So if you have understood 50% of this, it is okay. We are going to solve a lot of problems, okay? So here we have minus 2 root 2 in the middle. So I need two numbers a and b whose sum is minus 2 root 2 and whose product is the product of 1 and minus 30, that is minus 30, right? So I told you root 2, because there is a root 2 here, both middle term split factors will contain root 2. So can you just take a minute and find out the two middle term split factors here? It's very easy actually. So I told you a root 2 and a root 2 will be there in both the factors. Apart from that, what is left out is root 2 into root 2 is 2, right? So 30 is 15 into 2. So I need a 15, and 15 is 3 into 5. So I will write a 5 here and a 3 here. See, the product of these two is going to get me a 30, right? But I need a minus 30 and a minus 2 root 2. So the bigger one will be negative and the smaller one will be positive. Little bit of logic and you get through it. Okay, so I have the middle term split factors. Let's put them here. Y square minus 5 root 2 y plus 3 root 2 y and minus 30. So what did I do here? I took the highest common factor out of these two. So y minus 5 root 2. But again, I don't have a 5 root 2 here. So what will I do? I will break this 30. That is the crucial step. And so I will write plus 3 root 2 y. I am not going to touch this. This 30 will be written as minus. What will I write for 30? I will write 5 times 3 times root 2 times root 2. See, 5 times 3 times root 2 times root 2. And now I will take out the common factor out of the last two terms. So out of these two, I have a 3 root 2, which is a common factor, which gives me y minus 5 root 2 in the bracket, and the two brackets become identical, and so y minus 5 root 2 is one of the factors, and whatever lies outside, that is y plus 3 root 2, that forms the other factor for this question. Now you can see I have consumed less time in the second question. That's because we start to develop understanding. So we will solve 4 more questions, okay? Different types of questions in which there are square roots in the quadratic polynomials. Before that, let me just tell you about the announcement which we have made very recently. This is the announcement of the registration open. That means we have an online batch in which we are opening the registrations, and all the students who are studying in class 8th, who will be in class 8th, class 9th, class 10th, even class 11th, they can register for the session 25-26 batch. I'll be taking mathematics, and we have this batch in which we have thousands of students already we have mentored, and we have very highly experienced faculty with excellent results. In year after year we are producing that results. Exclusive batches, we have students from Dubai, and then we provide notes, assignments, previous year questions, mock sessions, engrossing live interactions will go on through Zoom, and then recordings. This is something very unique, where if you miss a session for some reason, we will provide the recording also for the missed session. And then Batch strength, this is another concern which parents have normally. We take only 15 to 20 students in a batch just to ensure that we are concentrating on each student. So if you are going to be in class 8th, 9th, 10th or 11th, you can register for this batch. Let me tell you, already more than 70% of the seats have been filled. So you need to be really quick in sending us a message on WhatsApp. This is the WhatsApp number. This is alternative WhatsApp number, and registrations are on first come first serve basis. So this was the very important announcement for the session 25-26 batches. Let's move on to the next question now. So here we have, I'll change the color now. Let's take this color. Yeah. So here also we have a square root in the middle. So what am I going to do with this square root? I know that root 6 will be a part of both the terms. So I will write 2x square, and let's see what are the middle term split factors. So I need two numbers whose sum is 2 root 6 and whose product is 2 times 3, that is 6, right? Very easy, very easy, because I told you root 6 will be a part of both. So root 6 and root 6, and root 6 into root 6 itself is 6. That's what I want as the product. So no coefficients required here. Root 6 and root 6. Let's write here plus root 6xy plus root 6xy plus 3y square. And now when you take the common factor out of these two and these two, we are going to have something which will be different. Now what is that different thing? That different thing actually is splitting this 2 here. Why? Because root 2 into root 2 is 2 and then x square, plus how about root 6? Root 6 is root 2 into root 3 xy, right? And then plus again we have root 6. So root 6 is root 2 into root 3 xy, plus we have a 3 here. 3 is root 3 into root 3 y square. And now we have to take the common factor out of these two, which becomes root 2x, and we have a root 2x plus root 3y in the bracket. Similarly, if you take a common factor out of these two, you have root 3y, which gives us root 2x plus root 3y in the bracket, and you can see the two brackets are exactly the same. So the bracket forms the first factor, and whatever lies outside the bracket, that is root 2x and plus root 3y, that forms the second factor. See, this step is really the important one. I'll put a star mark here, because if you don't break this 2 and this 3, this root 6 and root 6 into its factors, then you are not going to have the common factor out of those first two terms and the last two terms, right? Okay, let's change the question now. Here we have a question where the square root is here in the first term and in the last term, but there is no square root in the middle. So when we break the middle term, there will not be any square root in the two factors into which the middle term is to be broken. Okay, I'll show you how. See, the number here is 20, right? So I need a plus b is equal to 20, and the product AB as the product of this and this. So 5 3s are 15, and root 5 into 5, root 5 is 5, right? So 15 into 5, 75. And now very easy, see, two numbers whose sum is 20 and product is 75, 15 and 5, right? So 15 and 5. But is that so easy? Let's check. 5 root 5 x square. So I am breaking 20 now, 15 and 5. So I can write 5 first. 5x plus 15x plus 3 root 5, right? Now if I take the common factor out of these two, there is a 5 and a x. But is there a 5 here? No. Is there a 3 here? Yes, we do have a 3. So let's check if further breaking is required or not. So if you take a common factor out of these two, it is 5x. So you get root 5x plus 1, correct? And if you take a common factor out of these two, it is 3. And so what do you get now? 3 5s are 15, so 5x, and 3 is out, so we have a root 5. But now you can see here we have a different bracket and here you have a different bracket. So there is something which still is incomplete. What is that? The first part. You can see the bracket root 5x plus 1. They don't contain any common factor. But here in the second bracket, you have this 5 which can be written as root 5 into root 5. And the rest of it is same. And therefore, a root 5 is also a common factor. So there was a hidden common factor. So I have to take that out. That gives me the first part as it is. And the second part, a root 5 comes out along with this 3. We have a root 5 out. And you have this left out in the bracket. And now the bracket is same. So your answer, the bracket forms the first factor. And whatever lies outside the bracket, 5x plus 3 root 5, that forms the second factor. So hidden factor is really important. Okay, so you can check this later and I'll show you some more questions. Okay, see, 6 root 3 and 5 root 3. So I need two numbers a and b whose sum is the middle number, that is minus 47, and whose product is the product of 6 root 3 and 5 root 3. 6 5s are 30 and root 3 to root 3 is 3, so 90, right? So 47 means 45 and 2. 45 and 2 is going to give me a product of 90 and a sum of 47, but I need negative, so negative 45, negative 2. Now these are the middle term split factors. Let's split. 6 root 3 x square minus, I can write any of them first, so let's write 2 x, 45 x and 5 root 3. So I have split the middle term. Let's take the common factor out here. We have 2x. So 3 root 3 x minus 1. If you take the common factor out of this, it is 5. So here we have 9x plus becomes minus because we have taken the minus out, root 3. Now is the bracket same? Not at all. So we need to break this 9 now. So 2x, 3 root 3x minus 1 minus 5. Let's break the 9. 9 is 3 times 3 and 3 is root 3 times root 3. See what did I do? Now this is the important step because this root 3 actually is the hidden factor which I have to take out. So 2x, 3 root 3x minus 1 minus 5 and now root 3 comes out. So what do I have in the bracket now? Look at this, the same bracket, and so the bracket forms the first factor and 2x minus 5 root 3 which lies outside the brackets, they form the second factor. Now it must be looking like a little more easier to you, right? Okay, let's solve this question, the last one there, and we will conclude after this. Okay, so you can see we need two numbers a and b whose sum is the middle term minus 10 and whose product is ab, which is 7 4s are 28 into 2 56, right? Finding the numbers is important, right? So 56 and 10. How about 14 and 4? 14 4s are 56 and 14 minus 4 is 10. But I need a minus 10. So minus 14 and plus 4. That will give me a minus 10. But does it work? Just think. Minus 14 and plus 4 is going to give me minus 56. So 7 root 2, we had a negative sign here. And therefore, the product has to be negative only. See, you can't commit a mistake. If you even don't write the minus sign, you will get trapped somewhere. And you will know that you are missing out on a minus sign. So, the middle term split factors are minus 14 and 4. So I will give you the question as a DIY question. So I will just split the middle term 14x plus 4x minus 4 root 2, and now I want you to solve this. It is a DIY, do it yourself question. I will give you the final answer so that you can verify it yourself. You should get x minus root 2 as one of the factors and 7 root 2x plus 4 as the other factor. So you need to solve it using this approach by finding out the hidden common factor and get to this answer. Okay, so solve it. Do post your comment here in the comment box whether you got it right or not, and don't forget that we have the complete worksheets of class 6 to class 10th mathematics. So if you are appearing in your exams very soon, then you can practice through these worksheets and feel comfortable, feel assured that you know everything and you are well prepared. So this is my WhatsApp number 9896369963. You can ping me now. I'll tell you how to get a copy of that nominal costing worksheet set. So friends, I hope that you like this video. Thanks for watching this, and I hope you will be commenting the answer very soon. I'll wait for your responses. Till then, see you.